We are here very near to the Kharkiv media hub. Please tell me, why are you here in Ukraine? For how long? And tell me also about your experiences here. Which one touched you the most? Or maybe there were several.
Sure. Thank you, Remus, for talking to me today. My name is Ashton Cirillo. I'm an American journalist from Las Vegas, Nevada. And as the Romanian people would well know, the refugee crisis that took place, especially in the lead up to and in the first months of the war, when Russia created their horrific attempted genocide with their full-scale invasion of the country of Ukraine, I came here to look into the refugee crisis and to report on that, specifically to do a follow-up to my work on the 2015 refugee crisis, which the Romanians no doubt were also familiar with, coming out of Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan, and into the greater part of Europe. However, after arriving in Ukraine, I understood just how traumatic the situation was, and I was offered the opportunity to come here to Kharkiv, which is a frontline city, one that has been under attack, one that had Russians in the streets here battling Ukrainian soldiers, and is located just 40 kilometers from the Russian border. After originally coming here for what was supposed to be a 2-week stay, I've been here for nearly 6 months. I arrived 8 days after the full-scale invasion began. And so, during that time, you asked what's touched me, and it's been a multitude of actions that I've seen. I've seen the heroism of the civilian population. The Romanians understand what it was to rise up against a totalitarian dictator who did horrific acts against people. What we're seeing the Ukrainians doing are fighting for their homeland in the same sense. Ukraine is not trying to expand the borders of this country. Ukraine is simply trying to tell these invading war criminals to get out of our land, to let us live in peace, to let us live with liberty and self-determination that every human being should want, and that the Romanians themselves fought for in the late 1980s. So seeing the heroism of the civilians, civilian volunteers who would bring food in the midst of shelling, who would dig through rubble in cases where the overstretched first responders weren't able to get to pull their neighbors out. On Easter Sunday here, I covered personally 6 different rocket attacks on the city of Kharkiv. There were more than 30 in total that day. It was a nightmare, but the city held strong due to the heroes that were found in every aspect of society. And that day, that Easter Sunday, when we were attacked, has stuck with me like no other day. Romania understands suffering, and Romania understands what it is to build a nation that comes into and grows into the rule of law. And Ukraine is a nation that longs for and embraces the rule of law. And as a journalist, when I came here and understood just how serious Ukraine was in being a leader throughout Europe and throughout the world when it came to democratic institutions, for me it was an easy choice to stay and to work in showing those around me, other journalists, the people in the United States who read my work, and those on the internet who follow me on social media, to show them the everyday life of these Ukrainian heroes. Ukraine's not out for vengeance. We're human beings here in this world together. There's many Russians who are against Putin. They might not be able to speak out against Putin, but they understand the evil monster that Vladimir Putin is. And as such, we have to remember, we only want freedom for a free people, whether it's in Kurdistan, whether it's in the former Yugoslav Republic where so many of the years of battles went on, or in Ukraine right now, in Georgia, in other areas where Russia has instituted their evil into these battles. How long will I be here? I don't know. I represent a town on the northern border reaches called Zolochiv, where I do outreach with NGOs and different communications work for the mayor there. I'm still doing my writing here. People say, Sarah, how can you call yourself a journalist? But in this war, you can't be neutral. There's not two sides. There's the side of truth, which is what Ukraine is on, And there's the side of lies and fascism and evil, which is what Russia's on. And because of this, if people want to say I'm not a journalist, I know that they're just propagandists for the Russian lies. We have to advocate for what we know to be the truth, and we must advocate for what we know to be the proper path for human beings. And so here I am. Some will say that I'm participating in this war, and I'll say I'm participating in a battle for the human spirit and for self-determination. When will I go home? I might go home tomorrow, and I might go home at the end of the war. I don't know. As long as the story continues, I want to be here covering it. But I do know one thing's for certain. My soul and my heart will forever be with the Ukrainian people in this battle as they champion liberty and they fight for their independence once more, 31 years after first declaring it from the Soviet Union.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's my honor, my pleasure, and I'm grateful to know that the Romanian people who did so much through NGOs, through small donations, in welcoming refugees, in being down there on the border regions, fighting to make sure people were able to survive. Thank you, as a citizen of the world, to you in Romania for understanding the struggles of these people in Ukraine and stepping up when so many others wanted to look the other way. Thank you so much.